My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87104. This is my confession.
.308 Negra Arroyo Lane, otherwise known as the White Residence, is one of the most recognizable houses in pop culture that exist in real life. I think it's nice how the structure acts as a staple throughout the show, where we can see how Walter's house physically evolved throughout the entire series. However, it's not just the fact that we see this house in almost every episode, but rather how the architecture surrounding it allows the audience to connect with Walter's character, experience, and family in a more intimate setting. His personal conversations with Skylar, the small moments with Holly, or the crimes he hides between the walls. Despite existing in real life, we're going to be focusing specifically on the house that was portrayed in the show, and not whatever this is.
Stupid, because it's a family home.
Well, you rented it to them.
I didn't rent nothing out to them.
In this analysis, we're not only looking at the elements of this house that elevate the show, but we're also going to be critically analyzing the structure from an architectural perspective. This is analyzing architecture. Constructed in 1972, this era specifically focused on simplicity, minimalism, and an overall human and functional approach to how houses were designed. Located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the house that will soon be purchased by the White family perfectly visualizes Walt's average lifestyle. Although not a bad-looking house by any means, the single-story and simplistic design is almost a physical embodiment of Walt's status, especially when compared to the grand houses of the successful Elliot and Gretchen Schwartz. I'm no expert in materiality, but looking at the house itself, it features what appears to be a white vinyl cladding, timber framing, as well as a pristine, pizza-resistant asphalt shingle roofing. The choices of these particular materials were popular during the time the house was constructed, mainly due to its energy efficiency, low maintenance, and cheap cost. I think the physical presentation of the house and the materiality reflects Walter's character in a way, as it visually represents his family-focused, well-presented, and overall clean and average lifestyle. And later in the show, as Walter's criminal alter ego becomes public, his physical appearance becomes torn down, beaten up, and abandoned. And this directly reflects onto his house. If I'm being honest, I really like how this house is designed, primarily due to its internal layout. Because the real-life existing homeowners like to keep their lives private, it's hard to find an official floor plan of the house. However, you can always trust the internet. With my amazing research skills and the help of some Redditors online, I was able to find a near accurate floor plan we can analyze. And from this, I created my own floor plan, although it may not be to exact scale. The choice to combine the living room, dining room, kitchen, and outdoor patio, although very common amongst family homes, is a very clever and functional decision. Combining these specific rooms allows for great circulation and separates these very social areas from the private and more intimate bedrooms. The only criticism I have about this floor plan is the bathroom. In a house of 3 bedrooms, how can there be only one toilet? What if Walter Jr. needs to take a shit in the middle of the night? Does he have to walk through his parents' room while they're sleeping so he can relieve himself? But what about the guest? Whenever there's a social event and a guest needs to take a shit, they're gonna need to walk out of this public social setting into this more private area, which sort of disrupts this public and private dynamic. Despite my critique of this, I think it was quite clever from a storytelling perspective, as this did lead to a major plot point of the story. Hank using Walter's ensuite bathroom led to Hank finding out Walt's big secret, which is quite genius in a storytelling way, but from an architectural perspective, I suggest not to have only one toilet in a 3-bedroom house. You can take it from me, I actually did this in one of my projects, and my tutor at the time absolutely ripped into me. Basing off from the house's real-life location, the structure has a good amount of windows, fully utilizing the sun path and natural sunlight. When it comes to ventilation, the house is pretty functional. Bringing up this left side once again is quite good, as the connection of these social spaces allows for that cross ventilation to pass through the living room, dining, and patio altogether. Another criticism I'd have to give though is this room in the middle. With no windows or no access to ventilation, this room right here would heavily rely on artificial means to cool and heat the room. As seen in the show, however, it does have an aircon system which Walt, of course, uses to hide his money in. I think it's quite interesting how Walter uses these hidden spaces within the details of the wars to hide his criminal alter ego. As the audience, we know he has something to hide. He has a secret he doesn't want people to know. Essentially, him using his house as a hiding place is almost a reflection of himself. The one thing I really like about the White residence is how normal it is. If I could sum up this house in one word, it would be normal. As ridiculous as it may sound, I think there is a sort of beauty in how average Walter's house is in Breaking Bad. Unlike many other houses in pop culture, this down-to-earth suburban lifestyle allows the audience to somewhat understand Walter's transformation from an average high school chemistry teacher to a ruthless kingpin. Although many improvements could be made to this house, after analyzing the exterior facade, interior layout, climatic analysis, and the era it was constructed in, I do have to give the architects props. You can argue that a lot of these points weren't considered by Vince Gilligan and his team when writing the show or creating the production sets. But the beauty of architecture is that it's subjective. How you perceive this building and the motifs behind it is completely up to you. From a storytelling perspective, this house represents more than just a house for the White residents. It functions as a way to describe Walter's development throughout the show, visualizing his safety and security, family issues, and most importantly, his character.